What's up, Halas Huddlers? We got a special episode tonight. This is going to be a little bit Bears focused, but we're actually going to get to know the guy behind the Talley Brand. But before we get started, make sure you stick around because thanks to our friends over at Talley Brand, Rob specifically, we're giving away some awesome Talley Brand merch, okay, to one lucky listener. We'll tell you exactly how to enter later in the show, so do not go anywhere. All right, I teased it already. Joining us today is Rob, founder of Talley Brand, a fan-created apparel company making some of the best fitting and highest quality. It's amazing, guys. Chicago sports gear you'll find anywhere. Rob, welcome in. Welcome in.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so before we get into it, let's just get to know you a little bit. So, look, for Bears fans who may want to know or who have not heard of Talley Brand yet, just give us that little elevator pitch. What is Talley Brand all about?
Talley Brand is a fan-grown company. Didn't start out being a company, but it's essentially a brand that is just about things that are a little bit different than what you can get at the store. It's stuff that you would really like to wear because I like to wear it. And I guess there's people out there that have some of the same affinities as me. It just started as a hat. People said, "Hey, where'd you get that hat?" Like, I just made it for myself. And essentially more of those things happened. And eventually I said, maybe I should make some of these available for somebody else. So that's all it is a business that got started because I created something that I wanted for myself. Other people liked it, and it went from there.
That's awesome. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit more about yourself? Like, how did you become a Bears fan?
Yeah, I grew up about an hour west of Chicago. Friends, family were Bears fans, as pretty much everybody. If you're into football at all and you're around Chicago, you kind of default to becoming a Bears fan. And it was around the time, I was probably in 8th grade, around the time that the Super Bowl season started going. They were doing good up until that, for a year or two. And then everything, just they made magic that year. So just about most of the people from that era that became Bears fans, it was because, they won the Super Bowl. There are a lot of people that were probably even around the world that are Bears fans, and it usually harkens back to those days. But we would go, my brothers and I would get up early on a game day. If we had tickets, we would go maybe start driving somewhere to get breakfast really early, and then we would tailgate, and then we would make our way through the tunnel. The chant would start, Green Bay sucks, all of those things. We were some of those crazy guys that would take our shirts off, when it's 0 degrees. We'd had a few beers, and that's the kind of stuff that we grew up with when it came to going to Bears games. And, the passion has been there ever since.
Yeah, I just did that at the Bears-Rams playoff game with my brother-in-law. I will say I did not last as long as he did with my shirt off, but it was a good time. You said an hour west of Chicago, so I'm Elgin, so that's about an hour west of Chicago. So are you similar area then?
A little bit further than that, like around the Dixon area. Rockford is
Okay.
usually you kind of have to start bigger cities and get smaller and smaller. Franklin Grove, Illinois is probably what most people wouldn't recognize because it was such a small town, but that's where I grew up.
I actually grew up in Belvedere, right outside of Rockford. So like the Chrysler plant that's right there.
Of course.
So
yeah.
All right. So who was your favorite Bears player growing up and why?
Growing up, it was probably Jim McMahon. Right around that time, the punky QB, he was always pushing back. He always seemed like he bristled against authority a little bit. He had the headbands, that would be a little bit of an expression, and got in trouble for, writing on those with markers sometimes. So he couldn't say certain things, so he would sort of say it. Pete Rozelle was the commissioner back then, and he had a little bit of a rift going with him. But he was always kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, from having a beer, standing up in front of the microphone at a press conference, mooning, news helicopter. So he would do some pretty aggressive or abrasive things, and I think we loved it. we'd love it these days too. He would get along fine in today's culture. Maybe get a few more, fines and that kind of stuff, but the fans would love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a little bit different with the nail polish, but I feel like Caleb Williams does it a little bit with his sayings that he puts on his nails that he can't express verbally, but he
Oh yeah.
does like to say things like F Green Bay. Um, all right, so every business has an origin story. So now let's get into how Talley Brand came to be. What inspired you? I know you mentioned it a little bit already. And your website, it said that it all started with one hat, which you just kind of mentioned. So can you just kind of tell us what that design is? Is it the one you're wearing now?
Yeah, and in fact, this is the design. This isn't the exact first hat, but I thought maybe this would come up in conversation. This is the first
Okay.
one. The design has gotten a little bit easier to see from a distance, but this is
Yep.
the actual first hat that I made, and I don't wear it as often, but I still wear it. There's something about having a hat that you just love. And that was the whole idea. That was the point is I had a lot of hats, a lot of Bears hats, and there were a couple that I wore out because it was my favorite hat. You was your go-to, you'd always grab it. And then it would get faded or, sweaty or whatever. And that wasn't the case for the other several hats that I had in my closet. Either I bought one from a store or online, or somebody gifted me one for a birthday or Christmas, something like that. And it didn't get worn. It just didn't fit right. It didn't feel right. Didn't have the right look. Maybe it sat up a little too high, or the bill wasn't the way. Everybody has their own unique things they like about their hats. Some people like the unstructured, some of them like the flat bill, some of them like it fitted and nothing other than fitted. So everybody has their own unique thing. And that's what I wanted to for myself. But I wanted to look a little bit different from the stuff that you could get at the store, not just feel good or fit good. And when I found a supplier that had, the ability to make it the way I wanted it, it turned out that it fit awesome and the structure was good and all of the things just kind of came together. So that is the beginning. And it wasn't really a plan for anything, but when people started saying, "Hey, that's cool. Where'd you get it?" I would tell them that I made it, and they would be like, "Oh, can I get one?" Or "I've got a friend, or my son, or my dad, or something like that." Conversations just kept going, and that kept happening. So after a while, I decided it wasn't just a compliment; it was more like a signal to do something.
So was there like an exact moment that happened, or was it just a collective of all those people just continuously asking?
Probably a collective, a few of those things is all it took to help me understand I needed to lean into it a little bit, but what specifically that meant, I wasn't quite sure how much work I wanted to put into it. I wasn't really interested in building a business. I'm a designer in the branding and marketing world, so it's actually pretty easy once I decided to do it. But people were asking, like, can you just put that on Amazon, or maybe you ought to sell it on Etsy or something? And I thought about it, different ways to create it. Like, I think I could probably just make my own site. I knew how to buy a domain name, how you get a Stripe account, and you can take credit cards. It's all these little things that take almost no time and
Mm-hmm.
very low overhead. And I put something together, and there was quite a few people on Reddit. There's different communities, and Chicago Bears have got a few different things there. And I posted something that here's a hat that I made, and people were like, "Oh, that's awesome! Like, I'd buy one of those." And I gave them my website and sold like 30 hats instantly. And I'm like, "Oh boy, this is something!" And immediately got booted from Reddit because you're not allowed to do any
I
kind
was
of.
going to ask that. Yes, I
Yeah,
got
they
booted
don't let
also.
that happen.
All
So
I did was I just posted our podcast, and I wasn't like promoting anything. I mean, it's just there's no sponsorship or anything with it. It was literally just our podcast, and I got booted.
it happened more than one time. I created a second account. That was my personal name. And then I created one for Talley Brand, and that one got booted too. So I they don't I don't know, Reddit community in general isn't the most welcoming. And
Yeah.
there are some people that run those things that are just downright unfriendly or what. Some I don't want to get
Almost
too
like trolls.
negative, but
No, yeah, but almost like trolls.
yeah.
Um, all right. So quality, obviously, I mean, guys, like, I'm not kidding. Like, this is one of the nicest hats that I own, right? The stitching is fantastic. The design is fantastic. The way you mentioned it, the way it fits is fantastic. Now, look, you could curl it if you want. I actually like the flat brim. That's what I like. So I enjoy this. The fact that you talked about the height, right? That was important for me too. Cause I've had hats where like it's just like way too tall and they just look so out of place. This hat's fantastic. I've been wearing it a lot. I told you today, I actually got complimented at work. I wore it to the office. You know, I do my hair in the bathroom because I go in super early. It
Yeah.
just takes less time to me to get ready. So I'll just do it in the bathroom when I get there. But I got complimented by one of my female coworkers that's there. And like, she's not even a Bears fan. She's like, oh, I really like that hat. I was like, yep, it's fantastic. I can tell you where to get it. So, guys, seriously, tallybrand.com, go check it out. We'll continue this as we go. But obviously quality was important to you from day one, but what were some of the challenges maybe that you faced kind of getting the company off the ground?
We kind of got into it a little bit, is getting the word out. If you're not going to put a ton of money into Google ads or buy advertising, or it's just, it's tough to go up against bigger companies that have got full staff. I found some partners that allow me to do things one at a time, not having inventory. I'm not buying a gross of products where it's like 144 is the minimum. I'm not doing any of that. So I don't have inventory. Everything is made on demand. There's some positives and negatives to that, but the positives are there's very low waste. Like, there's nothing to go bad. There's nothing like, oh, these didn't sell, so might as well just get rid of them or throw them away. None of that. Um, I can I can create things that I can just test, and if they do great, great. If not, I can move on to something else. So the biggest thing is probably that it's just the going up against bigger companies, which I don't want to be a big company. I just wanted to create something that I like, that I want to wear, and that's really the test. When I come up with a cool design or a shirt that has this shirt, Green
Yep.
Bay sucks. Like, the design is fun, or the part though that makes it a good shirt to wear is that it's a good quality shirt. It's comfortable. It fits right. It fits right at the arms. It doesn't feel, scratchy, or it washes well. It wears well. All of those things, and that's really the case for anything that I buy or that I make. It's because it's something that I would want to buy. I just can't find it. So that's probably it. That's the biggest challenge. Is I don't I didn't want to do a lot of marketing. Um, and that's probably it. The rest has just been excellent because of the community. So that probably is the next thing to talk about. Is I'm more surprised about how the fans and the community that I've been blessed to be a part of on Twitter. I've got people out there that are just promoting things on behalf of Talley Brand because they like it. There's
Barlissimo from George from overseas, right? Like, he obviously hasn't gotten anything from you, and he was out there promoting stuff the other day.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. There's a guy, Adam, he's the people's champ. He's on Twitter all the time. And he's from Alaska. He posts on a regular basis. He's got like tons of hats, shirts, and I've never spoken to the guy. I've been chatting with him on Twitter and stuff like that, but that's how it's been. I didn't create a brand. I created a hat, and the community created the brand. It's kind of weird
That's
that it's worked
awesome.
out that way, but I'm blown away every day by it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So my wife is she has her own business. She used to be a teacher. She was in the education field for 12 years. Um, she started doing a side business. She started making cupcakes. She started making cakes. She started making cookies, and she really got into the cookie thing. And to the point where when she was pregnant with my daughter in 2021, we got into the 2022 COVID year. She's like, "Look, I'm not happy doing what I'm doing anymore. Like, it's just first of all, to not give any details about it, but it was just way too political. Her actual school district she worked in, it was just a nightmare from a administration standpoint. She's like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. I'm dying every day inside. So she's like, I want to start trying to do this for real. And same thing, like she didn't do any advertisements or anything like that. Now she did do farmers markets. It was her way to kind of get out there, but it has just grown. She doesn't do it anymore. Now it's just grown by word of mouth. And it's just a matter of, if your product is good, your quality is there, everything else speaks for itself. And it's usually other people who are spreading and sharing that news and sharing that, excitement for what they got that helps
awesome.
build that. So I do think that it was cool how you worded that it was the community that basically created the brand. Real quick, you said you were a designer by trade. Is there a particular design or product that you are most proud of that's in your collection?
A couple different things. I'm a designer. I'm not necessarily an illustrator, but I've gotten some friends that are on Twitter who, like the Chi-Town hat that you've got, that was designed by Judd Lively. He's actually somebody that I followed on Instagram, and then it turned out he moved to the same city that I live in. And
Oh, wow.
I reached out to him. I said, hey, I've got this thing. And he was curious about, houses or neighborhoods and stuff like that. So I started a conversation with him early on, and he's like, yeah, let's do a little collaboration. I, give him a couple bucks for each hat or shirt that gets sold. There's another illustrator that maybe that's a good segue. He created a little Smoke and Jay illustration.
Nice.
Well, I'll get back to that in a second. So that's the designs that come into it. I'll create the rest of them, ideas for shirts and that kind of stuff. But the other design or concept that I think is my favorite is the concept of FGB. So it's sort of an under the radar way to sort of, stick it to the other team without overtly saying it. It's kind of a cool little chant, or if somebody sees it on a hat, either they know the Bears and know what it means and they give you a little nod, or if they don't, they have no idea what it means and it just flies right by. But I feel like there's a parallel that can be drawn between that sentiment and our coach, Ben Johnson. He is a very polite and reverent guy. He kind of stays above board all the time until he doesn't. And even then, it's like, I don't like that team, or, locker room version of that. So I think there's some aspects to how FGB can sort of be that disdain for the other team without getting too in the mud, so to speak. So that's probably it. But back to the stickers, when I talked about the community being kind of on our behalf, they become like little ambassadors for the brand. I thought, well, maybe I could just send them a thank you for posting or for saying nice things. Or if the idea was, if you buy a hat, you're kind of testing out the brand. But if you buy two hats, or you buy a hat and a t-shirt and a long sleeve hoodie, like, that's not just testing the waters. That's somebody who believes in what I'm doing. And I want to reward that. So I sent them, a little set of stickers. I didn't have like a printer that you could run envelopes through or anything. So I just hand addressed some envelopes, and, I bought a little stamper. I didn't even want to get addressed or printed envelopes with the Talley Brand logo. So I just got a little stamper like you get for your return address for home, for Christmas cards or something. So, and that has turned out to be a valuable thing. Like getting an orange envelope from Talley Brand with stickers inside it has sort of become its own brand component. So it's sort of a self-feeding thing. People are like, I want to buy some of those stickers. And I'm like, you can't. They're not something that we sell. And it kind of becomes its own marketing engine, which I absolutely love. I'll address, 50 envelopes on a Saturday afternoon, and in a matter of about 3 or 4 days, I'm seeing pictures from those people. It's like, hey, I got this really awesome Darth Burden, sticker, or FGB. So all of those things kind of feed into, the brand a little bit.
Yeah, I actually got my envelope today and I have not opened it yet. I was like, do I open it before the interview or not? Because I wasn't sure how I wanted to like brag about getting them, but I can't wait because I'm one of those guys that I have yet to put stickers on my laptop, but I've always wanted to. And now, but I used to have a CHGO one on here, but my
Mhm.
kids fought me for it, so I had to give it to them. So I'm going to check with them to see which ones they might want, and then I'm taking the other ones, and they're going to be
Yeah,
decorative
sweet.
all over my laptop. So look, I'm a guy. I work in the city of Chicago, so I'm gonna be on the train 3 days a week, and your stickers are going to be front and center as I'm just working on my computer on the train. So that right there is going to be some extra marketing for you.
That's terrific. I appreciate that.
Yes. All right. Before we move on, we're going to talk some Bears football. Is there anything else that we didn't cover necessarily about the business that you want to just relay that maybe I forgot to ask about?
Hmm. I think I can't think of anything.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought we covered most of it, but
Yep.
just wanted to make sure. By the way, that guy that you were talking about, I'm sorry, I blanked on his name,
Judd.
Judd. Yeah.
Yep.
So guys, he also has this really. I was between the two hats. I really liked his designs. It says Chicago, and then the O is a football, and it's a really cool look. Yes, that's it right there. Yep. Yeah, that's on a hat too, guys. It's really cool. Go check that
Yep.
out.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, all right. So before we get into the bear stuff, just a reminder, we are doing a giveaway. Okay. There is going to be news on what that is actually going to be. It is going to be a Talley Brand item. It's exciting. It's awesome. So please stick around or fast forward if you're watching this. Obviously it's not live, it's recorded. If you want to fast forward and get to that part, you can. But please listen. This is a lot of fun, and I'm really grateful for you coming on and having this talk with us.
Yeah.
But since we're both huge Bears fans, I can't let you go without talking football, right? Like
Yeah.
I just
Sure.
can't. So what was your reaction when the Bears hired Ben Johnson?
Oh, probably like Christmas. If there was some talk about it happening prior, and then once we thought it was going to happen, it wasn't really a done deal. There was talk about, well, he's still got to fly here to sign or to talk to people at Halas Hall. So um, it kind of felt like Christmas. And I remember Nick from Just Another Year Chicago Bears. He kind of staked out this little regional airport, and he was waiting for him to actually land, and he was doing live coverage on Twitter. So that's kind of how it felt, even sort of with Christmas, like you're getting a bike or a puppy, or maybe for some people a car, and once you get it, it's like I still can't believe that it's happening. And that's kind of how I felt.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm on record of saying it's the first time they've hired a coach that I wanted. I also write and edit. I used to edit. I don't write it anymore. I write for Barrels On, and I did an article leading up to the candidates when they hired Matt Eberflus, and he was seventh on my list. And that was he wouldn't even have been on my list, but it was those who they had interviewed.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is number one on my list. Was number one on my list for so long. I can't believe it happened. I still feel like I'm like living a Bears dream. And I got to pinch myself every now and then. How did you feel about watching the culture shift, right? Because you saw the change of the Matt Eberflus era to the Ben Johnson era, and it happened as soon as he walked into Halas Hall that day and just announced himself to the whole entire organization.
There's something about having the right kind of chemistry. As a leader, you either have it or you don't. And we had Hard Knocks where Eberflus was the coach, and he was going around, and there was a big talk about how there was no swearing allowed. That was came from upstairs, and George didn't really like that, so there was a lot of editing discussion about that. even then it didn't feel the same. Now people are allowed to swear, and yet it's like still there's more reverence, more respect for Coach Johnson than Eberflus ever had. So there's that part that feels different. As far as like the culture of how the season went, like the comebacks, those were energizing and exhausting at the same time. Like there's a crazy amount of different feeling for games starting last year, and now everybody is like there's bandwagon fans that are jumping on. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing, is that there's like an unknowable difference that maybe you can't articulate, but it's clearly different.
Agreed. Agreed. What excites you most about the future of this Bears team as it stands today?
I think just maybe the notion of there are people there now that know what they're doing. There's like coaching staff. I think there in the past has been like, yeah, that he's pretty good, or I don't know why he's still on the staff. Like, why do we even that guy
Yes.
doesn't? It's crazy. But these guys, it feels like when other teams are poaching your coaches after a successful season, that tells you that they're good. And when sometimes they like Al Harris, they don't leave, you're like, oh gosh, we have him for another year. Thank goodness. So that's probably the biggest thing. And then how it translates to the players. Like the locker room feels like they're all good guys and they feel like they're a brotherhood. It seems like that is different in some ways. And obviously they don't talk about that kind of stuff. Everybody is a little bit more kind of locked up when it comes to what happens inside the locker room, but it feels like they're a bunch of bros that just kind of have each other's back now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say I am grateful for the shift. And I know it's always been Bears defense, Bears defense, Bears defense, but I'm grateful for the shift to the new age offense. All right. If you could bring back one former Bear in his prime, any year, it doesn't even matter, alive or dead, and they have to play in this current roster, who's it going to be and why? And you can't say Sweetness. I'm taking Sweetness out of it because I mean
Okay.
that's just the easy one.
Um, Probably an end, but off the top of my head, I want to go to Dick Butkus. I feel like he is just like a monster. Um, that these days he would probably be penalized or kicked out of several games because of the way he played. But monsters of the Midway, he was definitely a monster, and monsters are scary for a reason. I think that guy would be awesome on this team.
Yeah, you said end. I think Richard Dent would definitely be a guy to
Oh,
consider
sure.
as well, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go to our rapid fire, which is all so just pretty much Bears talk, right?
Mhm.
All right, favorite Chicago Bear of all time. Did you say that was Jim McMahon already?
I liked him growing up. I think the favorite would default to Walter for just about almost every player. I've heard people talk about how there's not a better player in the entire NFL history ever, any team better than Walter. That's a pretty bold argument, but it's one that's worth having.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from a running back standpoint, I don't think he's the best pure running back, right? Like, I actually think Barry Sanders was better than him as a pure running back, but just the ability to do everything and also be a great running back, like that's to me. And I didn't get to watch him live, right? Like, I was too young because I was born in '83, but I've seen enough and I've watched enough of his videos and highlight reels, and
Hmm.
he's just he could do anything with the ball whenever you get it to him. And he can catch the ball. He could pass the ball. He could run with the, I mean, it was amazing what he could do. Um,
Right.
how about your favorite current Bear on the roster now?
I think Luther Burden the third.
Okay.
He has, he went to Mizzou. He's got a pretty kind of crazy growing up in the really bad part of town. And he talked about somebody asked him, like, what did you dream about? He's like, there were no dreams in my neighborhood. Nobody had dreams. He's like, you would have bullet holes in your house. the kind of stuff that he had to deal with. And I think he's got a chip on his shoulder from the draft, people not picking him. I think he's got some stuff to prove. And I think we're seeing the beginnings of some pretty amazing stats and plays and some performance that a lot of people might not be ready for.
Yeah, I agree. My co-host Bob Weiss would absolutely love to hear you say that, because that was the guy he was most excited about after that draft. I know you don't live here, but Soldier Field, Arlington Heights, or Indiana? Which one are you picking?
So this is rapid fire. My quick
Yep,
answer is I don't care. I
that's
don't.
the right answer. As long as they're playing in a good stadium, it's really all that matters, right?
Yeah.
How about favorite Bears memory? Would it be the one about Jim McMahon, or is there something else?
Um, I'll probably go with a game time thing. Like I remember the fridge, barreling through the end zone and scoring a touchdown back in the Super Bowl was pretty cool. And then he, clumsily spiked the ball and about fell down. So that energy can't be manufactured. That was a pretty cool day.
Awesome. Most hated Packers player ever. And you can only pick one.
Okay. There is a connection with Jim McMahon. Charles Martin is the guy who, after like 20 seconds after the play was over, he picked up Jim McMahon and slammed him down on his shoulder. Made a big shoulder injury that ended that season for him. So that was a pretty hated Packer. There have been other Packers that I'm not fans of, but that is true hate when somebody does that.
All right. I don't know if you're a pizza guy, but if you are, deep dish or tavern style?
Tavern style. Corners first, of course.
Good answer. Good answer. One word to describe Bears fans.
Diverse.
Okay, that's a good one. How about one word to describe Packers fans?
Spoiled.
There you go. Caleb Williams ceiling, good, great, or Hall of Fame?
Hall of Fame.
Nice. One current NFL player you'd steal and put on the Bears.
Oh, how about TJ Watt?
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I like that. All right. That was all that I had for that. All right. We're going to give away the giveaway information. All right. Guys, it's really, really easy. This is our way to say thank you for hitting that 2,000 mark for us. And it's a way to help Rob continue to build the Talley brand and continue to get Bears fans the merchandise and the content, or the items that they're looking for, right? He's got some really cool stuff out there. So we're going to be giving away a free phone case. There's two designs here that are on there. You got the Luther Burden, Darth Burden, right? And you got the FGB that we talked about earlier. So those are the options. So we will do a drawing. And in order to be in the drawing, all you have to do is be subscribed to the Halas Huddle on YouTube, and then go over to Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and follow at Talley Brand. Okay, it's really easy. It's all right there. I will also put links in the description, so it's really easy to find. But that's it. That's all you got to do. There's nothing else. It's very simple, and we're going to make it very easy, and we will make that announcement. We'll probably do the drawing on Sunday, and we will make that announcement on our next Bears-focused podcast for us. And I lost us. There we are.
That's
all
cool.
Right. Yeah. All right. So as we wrap up, what do you think is next for Talley Brand? Is there anything coming up that we should keep an eye on?
Yeah, there's always have hats and shirts, and sometimes they'll try new things out that don't end up making it to the store. Sometimes they'll just, if it's something that I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but maybe shipping turned out to be a little weird, or it took too long, or the, lead times were high, I'll end up just gifting it to somebody, somebody who, did something cool, or just as a thank you. But once in a while, there's something I'm like, this is awesome. And that phone case is a good example of that. I wanted a phone case for myself. I wasn't planning on selling them on the store. But I was looking for something, and I found like a place that would do like private label that were tough phone cases. And if you had an iPhone, it has like the little MagSafe thing on the back so you can charge it wirelessly. And that's where that one came from. It's got the inside, it's kind of got a double construction. It's got really good hole cutouts for your speakers, and there's buttons on the side that work really good for volume and mute and all that stuff. And I thought, this is better than I expected, and that's why it went on the store. And then I'm like, hey, maybe I'll make another one that's got all of the stickers on it. So then I've got the stickers on my lock screen too. So that's the one that I have. Like, I love this phone case, and it's available for iPhone, just about like all of the different models and sizes, and Samsung as well. So that's the fun part about kind of running your own little store, is like you get to choose what things you want to try, what things go in the store. And if it's not something that's good, I don't want anybody get, mad at me for selling it or complain and want their money back. I'm like, I don't even want to sell that stuff. So you can pretty much be sure that if it's on the store, it's good.
Yeah. And let me just put this out there too. Like, I've seen your Twitter feed. I've seen like the comments and the replies and like the things that you've gifted. Like, guys, this is a Bears fan who loves Bears fans. Like, he is not just doing this to like get rich. This is like a guy who just wants everyone to be able to have some awesome stuff. So support him, right? Like, support the small business. It's fantastic. And it's a great way to support other Bears fans. So I think that's great too. A quick note on that too, with the giveaway. If by chance you guys don't have a Samsung or an iPhone, then the backup option for the giveaway will be a hat. So either way, you're getting something great.
Maybe you'll choose this hat.
That's right. Maybe you'll choose that one. There's also the FGB if you want to go that route. So real quick, I know it was on our display, but just for the listeners, where can everyone find Talley Brand online and on social media?
Yeah. Talleybrand.com, Talley brand.com is the website. That's where you can find all this stuff. And then on Twitter or X, it's at Talley Brand. I'm on Facebook and Instagram too, but it's probably 95% of what I do is, on X, and there's more people that can interact with me there. So those are the two biggest things.
And, he showed you his lock screen. Look, he's done it twice now. He puts the lock screen stuff out there for you to also take for free, right? It's right there. He designed it. It's there. It's for you to get. So definitely want to follow him just for those things, because who knows what he might come up with next.
Awesome.
All right. So again, we'll randomly select the winner this Sunday, and we'll announce the winner during our next Bears Focus episode of the Halas Huddle. So if you're tuning in for our upcoming stadium interview episode, that will not have the winner announced, because that's hopefully going to be coming out later this week. So it'll be announced on the next Bears one. So please make sure you tune in and listen to that correctly. But good luck. A huge thank you again to Rob and the Talley Brand for partnering with us on this. This is a huge giveaway and a lot of fun. So Rob, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time to share your story, talk Bears, give our listeners a look behind the scenes. I mean, that's the coolest part here, seeing what's behind the scenes at Talley Brand. Make sure, again, everyone go check out talleybrand.com for premium fan gear created by fans for fans, right? Like, that's the key. And don't forget to follow both accounts to automatically be entered in the giveaway. Until next time, bear down, claws up.
Bear down.
Bam!